Okay. So I just figured it would be appropriate to start the episode off addressing all the insanity that's happened the last, what is it now, 2 or 3 weeks?
It feels like,
The complete,
yeah.
utter overreaction from literally everybody. Everybody in the world. Nobody dodged this bullet.
No, not even the
Even though it
sports
could
team.
have totally been avoided. Let me give you some numbers. So while we were talking earlier, I wrote down these numbers. So in 2009, the H1N1 virus, the swine flu, the Obama swine flu, over 115,000 cases were reported just in the U.S. And there were almost 3,500 deaths from each case. And right now, so that I think it started November 2009 and then continued into May 2010, which is typically a 6-month period in that range. So if we just for simplicity's sake say that the same thing lasts just as long, at least the majority of it, the majority of cases last this long. This one started in December 2019. So let's say this ends in June. I'm guessing it'll probably end in May. People stop talking about it in May. We won't even have the vaccine by then, but people will just stop talking about it. So I just multiplied it by 2 because we're already 3 months into it out of the 6 months. So that would bring the corona cases in 6 months, if we just double the rate right now, which is 1,678 currently in the U.S., that brings us to 3,356. That is less than the amount of deaths that occurred from the swine flu. But why is everyone going so apeshit about it? I'll tell you why. It's Twitter. Twitter wasn't around back in 2009. Whatever, all the other social media, Instagram didn't exist back in 2009. Twitter was around, but it wasn't the size that it was now. It wasn't even the size it was when it was in 2014 with the Ebola crisis.
I remember that, yeah.
It wasn't even that big back then. But because everyone's freaking out about it on social media, that's why everything's closed.
Oh, yeah.
If we didn't have social media and anything, no one would have any idea what the hell is going on. They would just continue living their lives. And it's just absolute insanity. You've seen the autism meter meme?
Yeah. Oh,
catastrophic.
It's
the levels are catastrophic out here right now.
No, the biggest thing that pisses me off is the schools, because I especially feel bad for people who are like in their last semester of college, like being a senior, and
exactly,
getting screwed over, and like maybe not even being able to do the ceremony. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now all the classes are going to be online. You're not going to learn as much. You may even fail the class. I've seen people put up petitions to make classes pass or fail because of that. I know people that have labs that you have to be on campus for, and they're actually having credits revoked and have to retake the class because they need the lab. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, up there in Dutchess County, it's a little bit worse. But like my issue, so they actually, I'm proud of what my school did. So originally they didn't say anything about it. They said things will go on as normal. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that. And then all the Twitter morons started screaming and saying, oh, we're going to get sick from the virus, this and that bullshit, it's going to transmit like crazy. We don't have, at the time that they made this decision, there was not one case in Central Florida. I think there was 2 in like Fort Myers and somewhere else near Miami. Those were the only cases. So how the hell are we going to transmit a bunch of shit in Central Florida? It's not going to happen. So once, I think there was one case in Altamont Springs. I think now this morning they said the TSA worker got it, but I don't even know if he lives anywhere near there. He may live somewhere totally different.
He might not even be in Florida.
Actually, did you hear about the idiot that went on the plane from New York to Palm Beach?
Oh my God. No,
you heard about that?
Did he know he was positive and left, or
he was sick? He was coughing, showed all the symptoms. And it's like, oh, I should probably get tested. And then right after I get tested, I'm going to hop on this plane with like a bunch of people and fly to Florida. Because, hopefully it's not the corona. Because if it's not the coronavirus, then it's okay to just contaminate everyone else with whatever disease that I have right now. So then he finds out in midair that he has coronavirus. It's like, stay the home. What are you doing?
That is an official bruh moment.
Stay your ass at home. It's like, I saw a meme. It was like, people with the flu, oh, I'm dog sick. Shit, I can't feel anything. I'm just going to stay in bed. And then the people with coronavirus, I'm dog sick. I can't feel anything. I'm going to go travel the world. Maybe see Italy, go to Iran.
I love the memes where it's like me and the boys on our $8 trip to to Italy because of the
Yeah.
virus. And
I saw that
all
one
the
too.
plane tickets are cheap.
But I was looking at plane tickets to maybe if they were really that dirt cheap. I was looking at coming back for like a weekend or something. But they jacked the rates.
Oh,
it was
really?
like $350 for a one-way ticket.
Oh my god, they must be hurting big time. Like all those
Oh
airlines.
yeah, you should have seen. They showed pictures from MCO this morning. There was no one there, and it's usually the biggest time, like Sundays, because everyone was traveling back or to wherever they came from.
Well, I think it's because everybody was buying toilet paper, so they were too busy to fly. They're like, I need,
Yeah.
I need 17.
No, it's the same people. These same Twitter jackasses are the same ones who are buying toilet paper.
We should.
They have no idea what the fuck they're
We
doing.
should just buy like really good toilet paper, and like just go on the streets and sell it for like $500 a roll. Just like see how much money. we
Yeah,
make.
like the I got that good
It's like I got
Purell
that-
50 gram. Yeah.
I'll throw in some Purell if you pay $20 more. All right, you know.
Yeah, but anyway, what my school did, so then they finally caved and they're like, yeah, we're just canceling everything. And I was pissed. I was like, what the, like, if the only reason I'm here is to go to school.
That's
To establish
right.
myself here. So if school's not happening, why am I not there?
Exactly.
Why are we not doing this podcast in person right now?
yeah, because of school.
So-
yeah. No, I'm pissed too because
I was pissed.
I don't want my class like this semester's pretty tough as it is, and now everything's going to be online. You're not going to learn as much. They're going to put some crap like video lecture on that I'm not going to pay attention to, and it's
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I take classes in person.
me too.
One, to meet people. I actually love going to school.
Yeah, I mean,
like college is awesome. I fucking hated high school, but I love going to college. So that's another reason I was pissed. But what my school did, and it's not clear right now, whoever's doing these announcements are retarded or something because they're not clear at all. They first they tell us that everything's canceled, then they come and tell us that this week, we're not doing any online classes either. Just like nothing. Don't do anything school related for the next week. And then next week classes will resume. So we're like, okay, does that mean that because originally they moved everything online? Now they're just saying things are closed and classes will resume. So we're like, okay, so will classes resume online? Are they resuming in person? I hope they're resuming in person because if that actually happens, it's like best case scenario for me. Because I get a whole week off to study for my real estate exam, which I have on Monday. And then I just resume back to school after my real estate test. So because I had no idea how I was going to find time to do. My real estate was still
all right,
going on.
so I mean, it kind of like
So I get a week off, and we continue the in-person classes. That would be a dream. That would be like the best. I'm like, thank you, coronavirus.
Yeah, I have.
But,
right now I
yeah.
have an extra week of spring break, so the plan is to go back. But like, there's more people in the area that I'm in that have it. So
You're
it's
going
like,
back in person, right?
Yeah, in person. So far,
Yeah,
they
good.
might change it and say, "Oh, we're all going to do online classes instead," which I would hate because I do a lot of extracurricular activities, which I won't be able to do because all my other friends are like in different states because they're dorm, and it would just be
Yeah.
awful. And then I wouldn't learn as much. But I mean, the only good thing right now is I have a 20-page paper due in 3 weeks that I haven't started, so that gives me time to wait till the last week to do it anyway, because I'm not going to do it this week. Like you sit there and you're like, all right, I'm going to start this paper. You type like a sentence. You're like, I wonder what's on YouTube right now. Or let me check Instagram for 5 minutes.
Yeah, have procrastination all the time. But what I find really discouraging is that we're now having to remind adults to wash their hands.
Yeah.
It's
oh
like,
my God, I had
you have to remind you to wash your hands? Or this is not something you do all year round?
when I was I forgot where I was out somewhere, maybe like 3 weeks ago. So like the virus was still going around, and I went to use the bathroom. This guy came in behind me, and like he uses the bathroom, doesn't flush, doesn't wash his hands,
Well,
and
yeah,
walks
public
out.
bathrooms
And
everywhere
I'm like,
disgusting.
I'm like, dude, I mean, at least flush. like what the hell?
No, but I was going somewhere with this Twitter thing. So here's the cure for the coronavirus: wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
Take your vitamin C.
Yep.
Practice regular healthy habits like you do all the time. And then, so this is what all the scientists are saying too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So listen to the scientists. Now, I'm no scientist, but I do have this thing called common sense.
Oh,
I think
really?
you have it too.
I think I do. Sometimes
Yeah.
I lose it though, but
Yeah, well, it happens to all of us, but some people just don't have it.
yeah.
So here's one last step that the scientists forgot to talk about, and it'll make everything reopen again. I guarantee it. Next week, everything will be open. No one will be saying anything. You know what that step is?
What?
It's to shut the up about it. Stop talking about it. because these morons that are just going to believe anything that anyone says on social media, because everyone has to be first. Forget about fact checking or anything. Everyone has to be first now. They're going to believe it, and they're going to panic, and they're going to demand, they're going to protest and demand that everything be closed. So if you just shut up, people will stop talking about it. Everything will reopen, and regardless of if it gets worse or better.
Yeah.
People will just stop paying attention, and it won't affect people's daily lives.
It won't.
The people will be more affected by the economic aspect of this than the actual disease.
Yeah, they will. I know.
Guaranteed.
I know that for me personally, I've lost a pretty good chunk of change the last week in the market because.
Yeah, in the stock market.
Yeah.
Good time to buy though.
It is a good time to buy. Me and my friend were who both invest. We were like in the library there after class, just like checking like the apps for our investments, and I was just like, wow, this is awesome. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
All because of this.
I'm pouring all my money into it. Once I start to see that people stop talking about it and it goes away, I'm pouring all my money into it. But let's do our part of not talking about it.
All right, yes, we should.
By getting into today's topic. Ozzy Osbourne.
The man himself.
Ozzy Osbourne's new album. What is it called? Ordinary Man.
Yes.
I didn't think I'd see another album from Ozzy ever.
Yeah, he took almost about 10 years off. I didn't think so either. I saw him in concert 2 years ago. I was supposed to see him again this year, but he just got diagnosed with Parkinson's, and his treatments
I saw
take too much time. So, unfortunately, I think the Prince of Darkness might be officially retired, but I don't know. At least I saw him twice.
Hey, this album did well.
It did. I actually enjoyed it better than some of his, his last couple albums.
Yeah, well, so let me start off by giving you some background on how the album actually came to be. So he actually decided to kind of step back into the music realm when Post Malone hit him up for that feature on that song "Take What You Want."
Yeah,
with Travis
Scott. Yep.
So that's what kind of made him start thinking about music again. And the guitar player who had the solo at the end of that song, his name is Watt, and he's apparently a really good guitar player because Ozzy was impressed as hell, floored by what the guy did. Mm-hmm. So he brought him out to make an album with Watt, and he got a bunch of different musicians, a bunch of really good musicians together.
He did.
And that's how the album came to be. They actually recorded, this is from what I saw on the Zane Lowe interview on Beats One, they actually recorded all the music for the album in 4 days.
Wow.
So the entire album was done
impressive.
in 4 days with Watt and everything.
I know he had
not
Slash for a few songs too. He's the guitar player for
Guns
N' Roses.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere. But I'm not the Ozzy expert, so if you want to fill me in on kind of the background leading up to this album.
Oh, yeah. So for when this album came out, so let's think. He's 72 now, which is insane how he's still alive after everything he's been through. So he's 72 now, and
he addresses that on some of the songs.
And he does. The funny thing is, a friend of mine, we're talking about it, every song, like literally there's a song called Goodbye, and Today's the End, and Holy for Tonight. Like, it's Under the Graveyard. It's kind of like Straight to Hell. I don't know. It's kind of sad. It's kind of like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna die soon, but like, cause he just like he talks about it, and he's had a lot of health issues lately. Like back in 2003 or 4, he got in an ATV accident when he was already like in his 50s, and he had to have like metal plates and rods put in his spine. So then I know a year and a half ago he fell in his house and like dislodged it, which made him have to postpone the tour he was already on. He finally got better, reset the dates, and I was so pumped, and then he got Parkinson's. So I was like, so its health is going pretty fast, which sucks. But Ozzy is like the king frontman, the king party man. I mean, he
started off with Black Sabbath.
In 1969,
then,
the same time with like Led Zeppelin and all of them. He was with them for 10 years, and then in 1980, after he got kicked out, he started his solo career with like Randy Rhoads.
And he released Blizzard of Oz, right? That was his first album.
Blizzard of Oz.
That was a good one.
That was a great one. Diary of a Madman, Bark at the Moon. Unfortunately, Randy Rhoads died in a plane accident.
Yes, I know about that.
It was awesome. Yeah. I wish he stayed. Then he got J.K. Lee, and then eventually he got Zakk Wylde, who's usually with him now all the time. And
except for this one, who obviously is Watt.
Yeah. Yep. So Ozzy's just ruled like the music industry for
Of course.
Years. I mean,
yeah, everyone knows that. So what were your expectations going into this album?
So to be honest, I love Ozzy, but when I heard he was making a new album, compared to his last like 2 or 3, I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I feel like you ran out of
not a lot
of
hits on there, right?
Yeah, I was like, I don't think it's gonna be that great. And so it came out, and I listened to it, and I was actually surprised. I thoroughly enjoyed most of the songs. Definitely not as much as his like older stuff in the '80s, but for what it is now and for what he's been doing recently, this is probably like one of the best albums he's done in a long time. Like Black Rain in 2007 and Scream in 2010, they weren't really that great. And then, like 10 years later, Ordinary Man, I was surprised. So,
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. So let's go more in depth on why you felt that way and why I felt that way. Starting with track number 1, Straight to Hell.
Straight to Hell. That song is pretty funny. So yeah, Straight to Hell is kind of like, it kind of builds up, and then it just kind of like hits you in the face a little bit. And it's kind of just like, it's always been like what he's been about, like the Prince of Darkness he has. He eats bats, which he actually has done, and doves too. So
that's where the coronavirus came from.
That's where it's from Ozzy. So I think it was a good idea to start with the song called Straight to Hell, which I'm pretty sure he released as a single too and has a music video for. And,
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it continues his legacy as like being about like darkness and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I really liked the vibe. Just I thought it was kind of annoying how repetitive it was.
Yeah, it was a little bit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of what they bashed the mumble rappers for, because like literally that's all it is. It's like a looped
of the same
melody for like 4 bars, and that's the entire song. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I felt about this one. Obviously, it wasn't that bad, and I also thought Ozzy's voice was super low in the mix.
Yeah.
So whoever mixed this album is should not be a mixer. Track number 2, All My Life. What do you think about that one?
I thought this one was good, but it wasn't really like my go-to to like, oh, let me play this whenever I'm in the car type song.
It's a softer one. I actually loved it. I thought it was like a nice acoustic feel, and it gives the hook, which had a lot more energy, which I think is what you prefer. I think it kind of makes that sound 10 times better because it gives a little bit more breathing room.
Yeah.
So you can really take that part in. But I appreciated the song. Track 3, Goodbye, I thought was kind of average and formulaic, but what did you think?
I thought it was meh. I thought it was like, okay.
Just filler.
It kind of sad too. I was like, oh shit, like, he's dying.
Yeah.
Like goodbye.
And you can kind of tell by this point in the record that they're going for more like a grungy sound. You know what I mean by that? Like the stomp box kind of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not a fan of it, but if that's what they were going for, then they did it. Track number 4, Ordinary Man with Elton John.
Elton John. I actually really like this one because, and I don't know if you saw the music video he released for it, which was really cool.
I saw he did, but I didn't watch it yet.
I just thought it was cool. Like the song talks about how he's lived his life being, the centerpiece and famous, and he doesn't want to be an ordinary man or die an ordinary man, which he won't, because he's anything from an ordinary man, which I thought was cool. How he just talked about his whole legacy, and Elton John was a cool mix.
Yeah, this one I felt was the strongest lyrical performance. It's Ozzy reflecting on his life up to this point, which I think, like you were saying earlier, many didn't expect, including himself, to go on for this long.
No.
And also reflecting on his largely publicized affair with Sharon, among other things that are well documented. So I thought this was the strongest lyrical performance on the whole thing.
I agree with that 100%.
Track number 5, Under the Graveyard. I think this is a fan favorite.
Yep,
from the album. I was not impressed.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I didn't. It was just kind of once again the same issue that I had with Straight to Hell and Goodbye. It's kind of just like
repetitive
over and over again, the same thing.
I liked
but
it.
Why did you like it? What stood out to you?
I think the main that made me like it more was the music video release for it. So this song was kind of about when in 1979 when he got kicked out of Black Sabbath and how he felt and like how he didn't want to do anything, and then Sharon helped him start his solo career. So I just thought that was kind of like a cool history thing. But I could see the repetitiveness that you talk about.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of a filler, but sometimes fillers end up being the hits of the song.
Yep.
That's a single now. So Eat Me. I love that title.
Yeah.
Number 6.
I like this one. I like the bass and I like the drums and the guitar solo. I thought this one was like a route back to his older stuff.
Yeah, For me, I just wish the song was as good as the title. That's a great title.
That is a good title. Eat Me. That's a good one.
Today is the End. I like this one. I thought this is actually my favorite one in the entire thing. What did you think about it?
Oh, is it? I thought it was good. I didn't think it was my favorite, but I mean, it was. I think it's better than like Goodbye or All My Life. But Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I liked it.
I thought the lyrics were perfectly appropriate for the mindset of all the toilet paper fiends and all the Twitter fiends the last couple of weeks. Other than that, I think this is one of the stronger tracks as Ozzy experiments more with the late '90s, early 2000s, kind of like Nirvana, Green Day sound.
Yeah.
Which we don't traditionally hear from him. I think up until this point in the album, it's been a lot of his old stuff. It's like the same formula, which
Yeah.
obviously his fans want to tune in for.
Of
But
course.
it's also great at times for when bands kind of experiment with new sounds. A great example of that being Rush, right? They had their different eras. So when they first
Yeah.
came out, they had their sound. Then once the 80s came along, they started experimenting with progressive, and I think their changing sound is how they were able to stay so relevant and have such a huge fan base over all these years. So it's good to see Ozzy kind of trying that out too.
No, I agree. I agree with that. That if some bands can stay the same forever and keep the fan base, like AC/DC, and other bands have to evolve with the times and keep the fans guessing.
Yeah, but I mean, just like, because AC/DC is obviously a classic band, but what I mean by that is because AC/DC fans, when you listen to their music, you listen to their older stuff.
Yeah.
And granted, Rush too. I think when you think of Rush, you think of Signals and you think of Moving Pictures. But Rush was able to
Permanent
make
Waves.
good albums after those classic albums. So AC/DC, I'm not an AC/DC expert, but they haven't really released since those times anything that would kind of even challenge those records.
Yeah, the only one that was good was 2014 or 15. Rock or Bust was kind of like back into what they used to play. I liked it, but it wasn't like their old stuff. But
Yeah,
they kept the same
definitely.
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good to see Ozzy trying that out. Number 8, Scary Little Green Man. This one kind of reminded me of Iron Man from his Black Sabbath days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, the
yeah.
lyrics wise at least. I thought it was good. It was
thought it was
again
good.
kind of the different sound that you're not used to hearing from.
I remember seeing the title and I was like, "What the hell is this?" But then
Yeah,
I
it's
listened
about
to it and I
aliens.
was like, yeah. But then I was like, "Oh, all right, this is actually pretty. I like it." It was definitely different.
Yeah.
So I
Track number not. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Number 9, Holy for Tonight. I appreciate the change of pace on this one. More of a laid back and really overall somber tone, especially when you think about how this could very well be the last record that we get from one of rock's greats.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I just felt like it was kind of a repetition of the other ones, kind of like the other ones about like goodbye and stuff like that. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah, well it's not something you work out to, definitely.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. No, but from a album as a whole, it does complement the album. I think it definitely adds to it. Doesn't take away from it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And the last official track, I was highly disappointed with because it
Yeah.
features one of my favorite artists, Post Malone.
Me too.
I actually gave Post Malone remember we did the top 10
Yep,
albums of
top
the
10
decade.
albums.
He was on there, and I actually gave him album of the year for 2018 with Beer Bongs and Bentleys. I was pleasantly surprised with how well Post Malone translated to this kind of grungy rock sound. I wasn't totally surprised because he has done other genres in the past, some of his early work.
Yeah.
And he's just an overall good musician, so I wasn't too surprised, but it was just kind of just banging noise to me.
Yeah, no, it was
Repetitive over and over again.
I didn't like It's a Raid. I saw featured Post Malone and I was like, oh, this should be good, but I don't know. It just felt like I was like in prison or something, and I was just like stuck listening to some noise over the loudspeaker.
This is what hell sounds like.
This is what. Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I did.
And then 11, I don't really consider part of the actual album because it's
Take
just
what-
from the
yeah.
Post Malone
Take
album.
what
I
you
did
want
like
from
the
me.
song.
I liked it too.
Actually, this is what kind of made me go back to Ozzy's discography, like his classic ones, like Diary of a Madman.
Oh, that's my favorite.
And then we were surprised with this new album, and obviously this song is how the album came to be in the first place. So it's good that they paid homage to it, but I think overall it's just kind of a thing to throw on there, maybe to boost streaming sales.
Yeah,
because
it definitely was.
I think if you play a track a certain amount of times, it counts as like a whole album sale. So
Yeah.
you just take a little bit from Post Malone, put it on here, and it boosts the numbers a little bit.
No, it was definitely his goal, especially with Elton John throwing in, which I thought was a good
Yeah.
idea. Yeah, no, I mean
Overall, what'd you think of the whole thing? What would you
so,
rate it?
out of 10, I'd probably give it, compared to his other albums, man, I want to say like 7.5, but I'm gonna say 8.
8.
Say 8.
That's
out of
pretty
10.
high.
Yeah, I love Ozzy though.
I mean,
compared to I'm comparing this to like the 2 and 3 he did before this, which were like oof, like really bad.
okay. So if
So-
you compare it to his overall discography, where would you rank it?
Oh, overall,
Yeah.
oh man, probably like 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
If it was overall.
That's actually my rating.
Yeah.
I give it 6 headless bad emojis out of 10.
Bad emojis, headless bad, definitely. Like my
Yeah.
favorite album of all time that he made was Diary of a Madman. That's my favorite. That gets 10 headless bad.
That's a good one.
emojis.